Today, we start the United Movement for people to have a voice in decisions that impact our world, society, and prosperity. A brief recap of what we've learned from the United Movement preview. Our power as people is in our collective wealth and united economic action. Our experiences and outcomes as divided people versus united people, and why we must unite as people now in order to unite our economic ecosystem of business people and government so that we can evolve what matters to us. By the end of this video, we'll have a clear call to action. We'll also introduce the United Marketplace, which will be the world's first trillion-dollar industry and system. We'll start the United Movement with our call to action, and we'll activate demand for the United Marketplace with our call to action. Our United journey starts with the United Movement, and specifically our call to action. The United Movement includes the definition of a united vision of the people and united values to help guide our journey. In addition to the United Marketplace, we also can see that future parts of the United journey include the United Political Party and the United Force of business, government, and people coming together to realize the united vision of the people. To understand the economic, business, and technical aspects of the United Movement, we start with the United Marketplace. The United Marketplace is a system and trillion-dollar industry to unite people with similar visions for the world and collectively make their heart's vision a reality. Together, united people understand humanity's greatest visions for a flourishing world, society, and prosperity for all people, then work towards it by evolving our industries, businesses, governments, and collective and individual actions as people. Together, we design our government's budget and lobby to ensure people have a voice in all government decisions, including how our tax dollars are spent. We construct new industries and disrupt existing industries through inclusive design for a multicultural world. Using the United Marketplace, united people organize across key roles in our society to drive change collectively. United people activate the power of united consumer purchasing, united investor action, united employee production, and united economic action to align industry, business, and government actions with the united vision of the people. Because the United Marketplace can impact nearly every industry, business, and business model, we can view the United Marketplace not only as an industry, but as the next evolution in our economy. In addition, because the United Marketplace empowers united people to influence government decisions, we can use it to evolve our governing structure. And with it, we can define a new way of being with and relating to each other. The United Marketplace empowers united people to transform policy, practices, resource flows, relationships and connections, and power dynamics, where existing conditions prevent systemic change. The United Marketplace empowers united people to use actions and transactions to evolve our world, society, and prosperity towards the united vision. To align actions and transactions with the united vision, united people execute 6 United Marketplace functions when managing world, society, prosperity, influence, and impacts. Imagine the process of sharing and evolving your vision for the world, where you find others who have similar visions for our world. Through knowing your vision is shared, you advance towards magnifying your individual heart and thus extend your very existence and your presence on this planet. Together, those with similar visions for the world could use a system to execute the following functions to create change previously thought of as impossible. Through incentivizing industry, businesses, and governments, united people can energize the united force of industry, business, government, and people to pursue rapid evolutionary change aligned with the united vision of the people. Imagine the power of every industry, business, and government using all channels, direct and indirect, to support the united vision of united people. Imagine the power of all industries lobbying for legislation that will make the world a better place and aligns with your heart and the hearts of those that you love. High-level system functions that support the decision-making process of United People are as follows. United People access insight, including trustworthy media, to understand situations. United People evaluate past, present, and future actions for a given situation, including potential actions for United People to take. United People make a decision to participate in either a United Ask or United Economic Action. United People execute the United Action. United People manage the transformation related to that United Action. And then finally, United People measure and manage on an ongoing basis the advancement towards the united vision of the people. In support of these 6 functions, the United Marketplace relies on insight and inclusive media from people in different roles in our society. We care for our stakeholders of society, world, and prosperity by understanding impacts of actions executed in both the physical and digital universe. To the extent required, people engage with industries as a whole, specific businesses within an industry, and/or government entities to influence change. And finally, United People measure and manage on an ongoing basis the ecosystem of government, industry, business, and people, with a focus on advancing towards the united vision for our world, society, and prosperity. A key outcome of the United Marketplace is to make the invisible hand of the United People visible for everyone. That means as consumers, investors, and employees, we can have input into the decisions of our businesses and government. Our ability to influence the investment flowing into businesses, revenue flows, and production levels as people can be quantified and translated into a united ask that aligns with the united vision. Types of united asks that can be economically incentivized include and are not limited to asks related to financial gain, including pricing, inflation, and affordability. Another classification is a particular market where a need isn't being met. The next is lobbying, where there is a disconnect between our representation and the action required from our representation. And finally, termed humanity, which may be something like asking our leaders to prioritize acts of peace instead of acts of war. We can use united asks to, for example, fight inflation on a reactive level, or alternatively, use united asks to lobby for a policy of universal basic income for all humans. The opportunities are boundless and directly correlate to participation from united people. The more united people that take action, the more powerful our united asks, and thus our impact on society, world, and prosperity. For united economic action, we start with the use case of engaging businesses and industry. United economic action can accompany a united ask. For example, an industry may experience gains by aligning its actions with the needs of consumers, investors, and employees. In such case, that industry would be rewarded with revenue from consumers, capital from investors, and production from employees. This exchange allows united people to purchase not only the product, but also the actions of the industry or business. Alternatively, when a business or industry does not align its actions, the visible hand of united people activates its powers. As investors, we divest. As consumers, we cancel subscriptions or stop transacting. As employees, we stop our production. And as united people, we consider our alternatives. The inability to align with the united vision of the people results in a loss for the business or industry, usually incurred in a loss of revenue, market share, investment, and productivity. Business models and money flows are important to understand as it relates to the types of united economic action to take. There are indirect and direct impacts on industries, businesses, and governments that can be evaluated and acted upon. As for government, we would actively ask businesses that lobby today to lobby on our behalf, till there is a political party in office that aligns to the united vision of the people. This indirect channel of influence can serve until we transform policy. For example, directionally less corporate influence on politics. The United Marketplace starts with 7 business categories. Since our challenges are systemic, deeply rooted, and substantially complex, We must spend time meditating on our various root cause problems, which prevent United People from executing the 6 United Marketplace functions. Due to the complexity and web of interrelated problems, solutions to root cause problems may fall within one or across many business categories. In the interest of time, I will focus disproportionately on the solution. First, United Media. United Media is inclusive in nature. It must include traditional perspectives, such as business and government, but also capture the experience of the citizen, consumer, investor, and employee, and present it in a way using metrics that align with the united vision of the people. United Media can aggregate various perspectives of the truth and identify acts of distortion and root causes of such acts, usually driven by greed, fear, and/or anger. United Media must organize itself for decision making across major government decisions and entities, as well as over industries and businesses globally. Second, data and insight. We need a combination of a single source of insight from United People and individuals who make up United People, a way to generate a revenue stream for United People through ownership of what we should already own, which is our data and our insight. We no longer have to continue to get monetized for our insight. Instead, we can create a revenue stream for United People with the world's first C2B model, consumer to business model, where we sell consumer insight and data to our businesses and use the money to rebuild society, a revenue stream for the people. This journey of regaining ownership must start with a secure source of data and insight that is only revealed to the extent it isn't weaponized to cause harm, and/or to the extent such use prevents the advancement towards the united vision. The forces of our industries and businesses caring about the customer experience can be aligned to the united marketplace, where each business's customer experience is on display for the world, as well as the investor and employee experience. Imagine the business value of understanding incoming revenue with extraordinary precision as it relates to decision making. Now imagine it with not just the customer, but with production, labor, and investment data and risk. Being able to monitor incoming investment or potential divestment or risk levels of rewarding investors disproportionately, and also managing business disruptions due to labor risk. Businesses know they are only as good as the decisions they make. When one adds on top of this consumer data and insight for new market opportunities, the possibilities for innovation and monetization are endless. Third, activism. This category allows for the activists to handle the entire workflow of activism, from the inception to the realization of one's heart's vision for the world. The activist manages the workflow with the power of united people who participate with easy, incremental actions and transactions. Through unity comes change, and so activists who protect us all need our help. Activists get their heart's vision to the world and their journey understood by the people without the distortion of greed, anger, or fear. United People support activists in ways that scale. Activist teams, with the support of United People, activate the united force of industry, business, and government to advance activist causes. In this way, United People can participate incrementally towards an activist who drives the execution that serves not only the heart of the activists, but also the hearts of United People. Fourth, lobbying. Lobbying is a way to gain indirect influence over political decision making, as well as actions related to political decision making. Traditionally, this has been a practice of our wealthiest and largest public and private organizations, in addition to other countries, etc. It is time for United People to lobby on their behalf and use economic action to drive policy, to gain an equal voice in designing policy. In addition, we can lobby directly with local, state, and national and international candidates by withdrawing economic support for businesses that support political parties that are taking actions inconsistent with the desires of United People, largely as a business category. This helps create an ongoing channel for united people to influence policy and other conditions historically inaccessible to the people. Through lobbying for actions that align with the vision of united people, we can hold our politicians accountable to the people and the promises they make. Then, when voted in, we can protect our politicians from systemic greed, anger, and fear that cause our political leaders to break promises to their people. With lobbying on behalf of united people, we can author a budget for and on behalf of our government and align decisions accordingly and reasonably. Fifth, opportunity. The opportunity category is twofold: existing industry and business, and a new potential industry and or business. For existing industries, united people create a united vision for each industry or business to work towards. Opportunity helps united people design and work towards structural changes within industry and or a given business. Opportunity is especially useful where people must take united economic action and there are no viable businesses within the industry that are willing to support the united vision. United people analyze the viability of constructing a new industry or business and identify investment, consumption, and employment levels for a new business to sustain within an industry or a new industry altogether. United people decide the best business models and balance decision making by considering potential impacts to our world, society, and prosperity. Through opportunity, we can deploy a methodical approach to industry and business challenges that impact people, where we protect each other by helping find employment and essentials for living while we make transitions from specific industries and or businesses to newly created industries and or businesses as it aligns with the united vision. Sixth, measurement. For measurement, united people create businesses that measure what the important indicators are for a healthy and functioning world, society, and prosperity that aligns with the united vision of the people. Measurement is essential for united people to manage our outcomes and experiences and relate it to our intentions. This can be done by and with industry, business, and government to have clarity with all parties and their contributions towards the united vision. Seventh, transaction. United people use transaction processing to aggregate buying power, effectively neutralizing inflation and price gouging through various channels and markets. United people leverage bulk transaction processing to facilitate the execution of united economic action so as to rapidly process financial transactions related to investment and consumer transactions. All these seven categories, operating in an integrated fashion, empower united people to address A, structural change like transforming policy, practices, and resource flows, and B, relational changes such as relationships and connections and power dynamics. However, even if we build the best system and start using it, we will make the same mistakes once over that our ancestors have made for generations. And that is why we must have a radical evolution of values. That is why we must start the United Movement. The United Movement is humanity's evolution towards peace, love, and unity. The United Movement respects the individual while acknowledging the individual is dependent on conditions to exist, conditions provided by both people and earth. The United Movement aligns to an extent on three foundational views. The world is interrelated, suffering in the world exists to be transformed, and a life of fulfillment involves living by and acting on your individual heart's vision for the world. The United Movement surrenders to the idea that our emotions are important and are ultimately acted upon, whether intentional or not. The United Movement invokes the power of positive, collective, intentional emotion, which is a gateway to unlocking the power of a greater human consciousness. This can lead to rapid evolutionary transformation. The United Movement can invoke emotions that we've all felt before, but to a scale and magnitude we are yet to unlock in this era of existence. The United Movement uses defined united values to guide intentions, decisions, and actions towards a defined united vision for the people. The united vision is the vision for all of humanity, including the aspirational world society and collective prosperity that accompanies humanity's existence. The united vision must be inclusive in nature and democratically selected so as to guide our civilization and all those after it towards caring for humanity and the conditions that enable humanity to thrive. The united values guide our journey to align with the united vision. United values must be democratically selected. United values are learned and practiced and aligned to the spirit of the united vision. A radical evolution of values aligns the actions of united people with society's vision for humanity, the united vision. With the united marketplace, we transform 5 of 6 conditions that hold systemic problems in place. To get the kinds of change that fulfills our hearts and transforms all 6 conditions, we must shift our mental model and thus start the united movement. It is the united movement that is core to ensuring our intentions are closely aligned to the outcomes we produce as united people. This requires us as united people to align on our united values and united vision. To come up with united values we can all honor, we must, to an extent, view the world with some form of consistency. I never understood how before, but how we view the world matters. How we view the world is critically important. Everything begins with our view of the world. Our thoughts, intentions, speech, and actions are all informed by our view. If our view of the world conflicts with the realities of the world, we can cause ourselves and those around us much suffering. The most beautiful thing is we have the free will to change and select our views of the world. Our view is like the seed, and our actions, the flower, nourishing the universe. If the seed is not planted in fertile soil, watered and nourished, the flower does not grow. How we view the world is a necessary prerequisite for us to grow in healthy ways and be the part of the world we are meant to be. Views are cultivated and nourished with the practice of mindfulness of views, or being mindful of our views when they arise. When am I thinking divisive thoughts? When do I feel connected and united? There are a few unavoidable realities we must rationalize and determine how to respond to with how we view the world. This must include an understanding of fulfillment, suffering, including impermanence, and interrelatedness, and how your views on each drive your actions. There is a joy and sorrow in each, and so one can perceive the exercise of understanding and adjusting views as one to be approached with calm and as an observer. Alarms can be perceived as opportunities for positive paced change rather than fear and anxiety. A good alarm can be used as a call to action to practice views that fulfill your heart. Part of this is to understand how your views are formed and what the sources are. Many times, our upbringing, including parents or guardians, are significant influences. This evaluation can be done with the purpose to help overcome the cycle of unnecessary, unpurposeful suffering and focus where suffering can be transformed to break the cycle. We must also understand that our views on death can have significant impacts on how one lives life. Nothing can be proven, so we can at least make wise choices that acknowledge our emotions and the realities of the world when it comes to our views. Regardless, our convictions, what we act on, are based on our views. Adopting new views is effectively undertaking a new way of speaking and acting. You can't deceive yourself. You have to feel the views you select. Having views that align and acknowledge certain realities provide great benefits and gifts. Alternatively, having certain views may create a sense of lack, sense of not belonging, fear, anger, anxiousness, or even greed. When one changes their views and sees the impacts in their actions, they may find extraordinary fulfillment of the heart. We cannot wait for logical arguments and irrefutable scientific proof of this. Rather, we can all individually, then collectively, take actions towards feeling the flood of wellness that living certain views generates. To define individual vision, and united values, we align to a certain extent our views of the world, which means each individual becomes intimately familiar with their current views and questions them. How did I arrive at my views? How does my heart feel when I focus on these views? What views fill my heart with love, fulfillment, and happiness? Once we start to feel the evolution of our views and our thoughts and intentions, we start to actively control our thoughts with practice. You catch negative feelings, you catch negative thoughts before they spiral, especially before they become intention or speech. You enhance positive, useful, intentional thought. You become increasingly intentional with thinking. And from there, when your views have permeated your thoughts and intentions, you start to speak differently. You start to generate energy. Such energy can be channeled into immense, useful, positive effort. And when you get to the point where your views have permeated your thoughts, intentions, speech, energy, effort, and actions, you consciously can invoke feelings instead of being subject to them. Feelings become your superpowers. You water seeds of desirable feelings and nourish them with mindfulness. You call upon feeling whenever you need the power of intentional emotion. You align action with intention. You neutralize undesirable feelings on your journey. As we evolve our views, we will be confronted with negative feelings to intentionally and proactively neutralize. To get the most clarity, one must practice neutralizing and removing negative emotions and practice generating positive emotions. There are many tactics that can be shared on the journey towards generating intentional emotions. Here are a few considerations to determine what works for when it comes to your views and ultimately your individual values. They are not for me to determine, but instead for you to explore as you wish. Unity over divisiveness. Neutralize feelings of divisiveness and feelings of not belonging by remembering what connects you deeply to the wonders of life and your fellow human beings. Divisiveness doesn't stand a chance, even those that you feel wish harm upon you. Think of the pain, the suffering, and how it drives that person. After careful consideration, you eventually just want to help them and certainly not perpetuate the cycle of suffering. Compassion to neutralize fear. If we remember what it's like to be scared, we can remember that we want to be comforted, safe, and secure, and use that to help neutralize fear. Peace over harm, especially physical violence, but really being mindful of harm, indirect and direct, not to a point of perpetual inaction, but more out of appreciation, love, and understanding that there is a compromise that living beings make every day, which indirectly and sometimes directly impacts you and vice versa. It is more about the realistic attempt and intention of living in harmony with the world and living beings. Forgiveness to neutralize anger. Forgiveness is so powerful. Practice forgiving out loud with words and do it with people. Do it with yourself. Everyone makes mistakes. We've been operating within the conditions of our system. We must ask everyone for forgiveness for everyone as we rebuild peacefully. Intention is greater than or equal to our outcome. We should never, ever trust that our intentions do not matter. They do. And we should write in our history books that way. We should write it in our history books that way. The universe is filled with cause and effect. Sometimes it is beyond our comprehension. However, we must understand that our intentions matter, and being unintentional causes significant harm to ourselves and each other. Fulfillment over greed. Desire as well as part of greed. Desire opens up the debt and void of need. We must realize that conditions for happiness may be available in this present moment. We can learn to be fulfilled in the present moment because the conditions exist for us to thrive right now. We are alive, and there is fulfillment in being alive, and increasingly more so with our views, values, and actions aligned. Another technique is also to deflate things that you like, that create desire in you, just to tell your mind and body you are experiencing a sensory dopamine response. All just science. Don't get too excited. Similar with wellness related to sensory pleasures. As for ecosystem and ecocentric thinking versus egocentric thinking, caring for the conditions of our existence is caring for ourselves. And so to distinguish ourselves and be egocentric is to divide ourselves from our ecosystem, which not only provides us, but the conditions for us to exist. As for love relative to beliefs, our beliefs evolve over time. And if you looked at your past beliefs, they might make you feel silly, just as mine have. At one point, you touched fire because it looked vibrant. Your beliefs have evolved and will evolve. Know when to use your love and when to use your beliefs. People-driven market regulation is foundational, ethical, and necessary. You may be asking yourself the question, is what I'm watching ethical? Are these suggestions ethical? And so we can look to guidance from some of our most revered thinkers in history, from Adam Smith to Sam Walton to Ray Dalio and Mark Benioff. The themes that we see: our largest businesses must promote our interests as consumers. Our actions as consumers drive the decisions of our largest businesses. Our actions and transactions drive our economy. Our actions as people, directly and indirectly, impact us and our world. So again, we can ask ourselves, what is foundational, what is ethical, and what is necessary given this era of existence? Martin Luther King had a very relevant quote. We have strayed away from the principle that this is a moral world. We have accepted the attitude that right and wrong are merely relative. Most people can't stand up for their convictions because the majority of people might not be doing it. See, everybody's not doing it, so it must be wrong. And everyone is doing it, so it must be right. I'm here to say to you this morning that some things are right and some things are wrong, no matter if everyone is doing it in the country. Some things in this universe are absolute. The God of the universe has made it so. So long as we adopt this relative attitude towards right and wrong, we are revolting against the very laws of God himself. As we consider what is foundational, ethical, and necessary, we may consider our call to action, which is to share our individual heart's vision for the world. Our individual heart's vision for the world is your vision for all of humanity, including the aspirational world, society, and prosperity that accompanies humanity's existence. Your vision is in your heart, and working towards it is your life's purpose, which makes you fulfilled in every moment that you exist. From examples of extraordinary people in history, they were driven by their heart. They understood their heart and emotions and found the courage to share their heart and live with their heart incorporated into their actions. These people are already out there today, sharing their heart's vision with the world. One's individual heart's vision with the world, like all living things, evolves over time. Upon sharing our individual heart's vision for the world, we kick off our united vision and a united values definition. In addition, we can start to form our united political party. Another critical process that's kicked off is consumer demand gets activated by a viral share. What that does is it creates not just one or two people going to capitalize on the opportunity of the united marketplace, but creates a influx of entrepreneurs who flock to consumer demand. And from there, investors will flock because they're going to be driven by sustainable long-term market share. And all of that can inform the United Marketplace Bill. The concept of activating demand for the United Marketplace can accelerate its development. Through people standing up, sharing their heart's vision for the world, we can identify potential customers, investors, employees, and citizens who would support the United Marketplace and usher it into existence. Activating demand in this way through consumer demand and controlling the conditions to create demand can be an ongoing tactic of united people. In addition, we can also practice united ask and united economic actions by executing a test across industries and businesses, which can further inform the build of the united marketplace. This is our decision to make and our journey to take. Our immediate call to action is to share your individual heart's vision with the world with the hashtag Start the United Movement. I look forward to any gifts of opinion, thoughts, and feedback you are willing to share with me, including hashtag No United Movement and hashtag Path to Unity, if there is another way. If you are ready and open to share your heart's vision with the world, you can put it in this format. Otherwise, if you simply want the United Marketplace to exist, you can start activating demand by simply sharing this video with hashtag Start the United Movement. One thing I'll leave you with, regardless of what we do, I accept any and all outcomes of mine and our actions as a collection of human beings. I'm grateful to be on this journey called life with you, no matter where we go from here. Thanks for all you do for and on behalf of all the people.